Imagine you're 20 years old, living with a chronic illness, and suddenly forced into a brutal war college where death is part of the syllabus. You're not the strongest, you're not the fastest. And oh yeah, dragons are real, and they don't like weaklings. Welcome to Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, a book that's blown up BookTok, crushed bestseller charts, and sparked a firestorm of praise and criticism. But this isn't just a recap. We'll dive into the story. Yes, but also the symbolism, the disability rep, the romantasy tropes, and the military logic that either makes this world immersive or infuriating. Let's break it down. Violet Sorrengail is supposed to be a scribe, bookish, brittle-boned, and more comfortable with ink than blades. But her general mother, yes, that kind of general, forces her into the writer's quadrant where survival means bonding with a dragon or dying trying. In a college that loses half its class in the first weeks, Violet somehow survives, mostly through cleverness, unexpected allies, and pure, panicked willpower. She bonds not one, but two dragons, Tern, an ancient, deadly male, and Andarna, a baby with time-slowing powers. That dual bond makes her special, but also puts a target on her back. Then comes Xaden Rierson, older, brooding, dangerous, and, surprise, bound to one of her dragons. Their lives are now literally linked. Throw in a deadly gauntlet, sabotage, war secrets, and forbidden magic, and we're off to the races. Sounds like your standard Chosen One arc, right? But here's where Fourth Wing actually tries to do something new. Now, let's talk about the real standout in this book, Violet's body. She lives with a connective tissue disorder based on the author's own experience with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. This isn't a magical curse or a weakness to overcome. It's just part of her. She bruises easily. Her joints dislocate. She can't do what other cadets can. And still, she adapts. The dagger scene in the gauntlet, a literal moment of triumph for disabled readers. It says, you don't need to match their strength. You just need to find your own way up. But does the book always handle it? Right? Some critics say the pain disappears when it's inconvenient, that Violet's biggest fights are written like she's suddenly fine. Others argue it promotes a harmful message, push through or die. Is that empowerment or just another form of pressure? Let's pause for a second and ask, why does Basgiath let its students kill each other in training? Seriously, this is a war college during a national crisis. Isn't losing half your recruits a bad strategy? Some readers say it's just part of the brutal world building. Others point out it's militarism turned up to 11, with no real logic behind it. It gives the book a dark edge, but it also stretches credibility. Is this realistic stakes, or just shock value dressed in armor? Now let's talk about Violet and Xaden. This is supposed to be an enemies to lovers arc, but their dragons are bonded, so they're forced into constant proximity, which means we skip a lot of actual character development instead of ideological. Conflict, we mostly get sexual tension, slow reveals, and eventual trust. Is it hot? Absolutely. Is it deep? Not always. Some readers love the dynamic. Others say it feels like chemistry on autopilot. Honestly, it's one of those relationships that works while you're reading, but leaves questions once you close the book. So why did this book explode? Partly because it reads like candy. The pacing is fast. The language is modern. The drama never stops. Think The Hunger Games meets How to Train Your Dragon, with a sprinkle of Wattpad sass. But this voice isn't for everyone. Some readers love Violet's sarcastic inner monologue. Others find it cringy and immersion-breaking. And when things get serious, the tone sometimes doesn't shift with it. Here's the truth. Fourth Wing is not perfect, but it is powerful. It puts a disabled heroine at the center of a fantasy battlefield and lets her be clever, messy, angry, and alive. It throws romance and war and dragons into the blender and hits franchise mode, and it clearly tapped into something readers were hungry for. But under all the fire-breathing hype, the book also opens up conversations worth having about representation, about toxic perseverance, about the fantasy genre's obsession with trauma as growth. So, should you read it? If you want to think and feel, swoon and rage, then yes. Just know, this story asks you to suspend disbelief, and maybe some logic too. If you liked this breakdown, you'll love what's coming next. We're covering the entire Empyrean series, from Fourth Wing to Onyx Storm. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and drop a comment. Does Violet's journey empower or exploit? Let's talk dragons, disability, and danger down below.